we'll just get this party started. And just to also double check, everybody can see our screen. So maybe some thumbs up. Yes, yes, beautiful. Love it. Thank you. So tonight we have myself and my colleague Melanie, and we are both from the Academic Success and Career Center, which is the centralized career center at the Pullman campus. Our center helps and supports all Cougs from all different campuses. So here we are with our global friends to do a workshop on building your brand with LinkedIn and Handshake. So in this webinar, we are going to cover like LinkedIn and some of the key things and some of the key features in regards to standing out, building your profile, but also some of the networking features that it holds. And then the same thing, utilizing the program Handshake, which is our main program here at WSU for connecting with opportunities, both while attending college and then post degrees, but also how to use that to network and the interconnectedness of LinkedIn. And then we're going to talk a little bit about researching employers and what that kind of looks like in both of these platforms and doing some networking. So with that, I will pass it over to my friend Melanie.
So good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So I don't know if anybody wants to chime in about their level of familiarity, comfort with LinkedIn, but it is a platform that is very, very much in use. We did have a panel of employers right before the Career Expo visit with us, and like overwhelmingly shared how much they use LinkedIn. So I would encourage you to, to make sure that you're happy with the profile. We'll go through some tips to set up your profile and some things to kind of consider as you're moving through that process. So kind of by the numbers, I updated this not that long ago, so 930 million members currently, 40,000 skills that you can choose to add to your profile, 63 plus million companies, and this grows exponentially, like the growth has kind of sped up over time, and 130 K schools. So it is, and a lot of people will refer to it sort of as your professional Facebook. It is, something that you can use in addition to a resume so that people are, learning a little bit more about you. I think the main difference that I usually describe is that LinkedIn allows you to really talk about what motivates you, maybe what you're passionate about as a professional, really, give some people a little bit of a window into who you are as an individual, whereas a resume is just, focused on brevity and clarity. So an additional tool to add to your job search kit, toolkit. So if you want to look at the next slide. So profile tips. These three areas are the ones I generally will emphasize when I'm talking with students, either one-on-one or in a group setting. They're the areas that sort of pull someone into your profile. One of the tips that I learned at some point was, a lot of, as people are using LinkedIn from a recruiting perspective, they're often traveling on a mobile device. So you want to like pull them in with your photo, your headline, your summary, so they keep scrolling down to learn more about you. Your headline is just going to be those like words that describe who you are. Are you a leader? Are you somebody who is passionate about a certain area? Like, where do you find yourself being most effective? It is really important to have a photo, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, a headshot that's professionally taken. A lot of, you can often get, or you can get a good quality photo with a cell phone, so that you're posting that. There is statistics indicating how many how frequently people will, move into a LinkedIn profile with a photo versus one that does not contain that. And then your summary statement or about is really kind of the heart of where you want to kind of, talk to people about where you are right now, what you have to contribute. Again, sort of what motivates you as a professional, and feel free, you can show your enthusiasm, your passion, as you're writing about yourself. I generally will recommend looking at, those people who are leaders in your industry, people who are colleagues, or people that you maybe aspire to, have similar positions, so that you can kind of get a sense as to what's appropriate, what kinds of things do people include. Your summary can be, short, long, I would say, make it at least a paragraph. But as you gain additional professional experience, like I've seen people who I admire do, real like 3 paragraphs of, describing the work that they do and why they, they love it and what brings them to that particular profession, that particular industry. So it is a really kind of a key part of your profile. And as you're putting it together, that's probably between your headline and summary, really put some thought into how you're describing yourself and your work. If you, if you are like a more traditional age student, you can talk about like being an aspiring financial analyst and things like that.
We have a question in the chat. What would you say is the primary focus of the summary? Your experience with your work or your work itself?
I would say it's probably a combination. You do have it as we go through the different sections. You do have, first of all, you can attach your resume to your profile, but you also have an experience section. So I would say your summary is a combination of, these are maybe some of my accomplishments, but this is kind of like setting the stage for this is sort of who I am and what I bring to the table as an individual. So maybe you're somebody who's very collaborative. Maybe you're somebody who's very project oriented, but maybe you also want to talk about, I'm really passionate, though sometimes I think passion gets a little bit overused when we're talking about career development, but I'm really motivated to work with this particular population of people. Maybe you're working with students at a certain age. Maybe you like to use your public relations skills to contribute to a specific nonprofit area. So those kinds of things are all things that you could talk about. Again, as if you are, thinking about, the people that are leaders in your industry, go ahead and take, take a lead from, how they're describing themselves, the length of their profiles, how much they're sort of revealing about themselves as individuals. And again, that's kind of that difference between LinkedIn and a resume, where you are really, having a voice for your professional motivations, I guess. But good question. There was something else. Yeah, so I think we can probably move to the next slide and just look at, and this is just a really quick like overview of, your summary itself. So thinking about like 1 to 2 sentences, and hopefully this maybe even answers your question. 1 to 2 sentences just about who you are, like 3 to 5 about your experiences, your top skills and your passions. And then 1 to 2 sentences about your future goals and how others can engage with you. So if you prefer people engage with you through LinkedIn and messaging there, or if you want them to connect with you on email, that's where you can kind of say, feel free to reach out in this way if you'd like to connect with me. So it kind of gives you just an overview or a starting point for developing your summary statement. And so does that help with a little bit to clarify? So, okay. All right, thanks. And then, so that's just really brief, and then we'll kind of go into like yeah, a little bit more detail about the other sections and some tips there. So as you're getting ready to either create your profile, polish your profile, just kind of think about who your audience is at this point. Are you getting ready to switch positions? Are you trying to engage with people in your industry as you remain in the position that you're in, or as you're trying to like move up in your organization? So really think about, you know, those people that you do want to connect with as a professional. Maybe there are people that you've met through through you know webinars like this. Maybe there's, I know there are, I always advocate for people to attend a lot of the information sessions that are posted on Handshake, and most of those recruiters, if it's a relatively small group, will offer the opportunity to connect with them on LinkedIn. So those are some things to kind of consider as well. So just think about who it is that you want to stand out for. Um, you can also use your headline to broadcast your ideal job. So, it doesn't have to be your job title right now. It could be, if you are aspiring to be in a different area at some point, you can use your headline in that way, or you can just use it to describe yourself. Are you collaborative again? Are you, do you find yourself to be like an inclusive leader, someone who's focused on diversity and inclusion, any of those things that you feel are truly describe what you as a unique individual or unique professional bring to the table. Talked a little bit about photos because it does increase your chances of having your profile viewed. And I think I kind of, talked about, showing who you are as a professional, as an individual. You can think about this in terms of a story that you're telling about who you are, and just being enthusiastic about what you're looking forward to as you move through, your process, whether whether it's searching for a job, an internship, and using your networking skills. Maybe you can refine that as you learn more and hone in on kind of what you would like to be doing next. When I talk to students about networking, I also oftentimes, consider it as sort of a funnel effect where you start with like, this is in general what I would like to be learning about as a professional. And this is the industry, the occupation I would like to learn about. But as you go out and connect with more and more people, you can tighten that up and get more specific. So it's okay if that sort of morphs over time, but also as you're networking, the more specific you can be, with the information that you have, the easier it is for people to help you, because it will help them connect the dots between those people that they know, and the people and what your goals are at the current time. So kind of think about, your elevator pitch as you're going out and networking with people. And again, that can change over time, but to give people the opportunity to help you, it's nice to have that in place as you're interacting with people on the platforms that we're talking about today, or just in other networking arenas. So yeah, and I think we can go to the next set of tips, and then find so there are quite a number of sections that you can choose from, but just kind of be smart about what things are most relevant to you. Is it, obviously want to be emphasizing your education experience. If volunteering has been a key way that you've gained experience, definitely add that in. But you definitely want to just sort of in the same way that you would be strategic when you're developing your resume sections, you are choosing the ones that are most relevant, that showcase the things that you want to continue developing. So rather than, you don't necessarily need to include everything that you have done, but think about where you want to be going next and what kinds of things are going to be most important to help you stand out. Um, so those things, that being smart about adding sections, mention most relevant experience, sort of go together. Um, and then as we move down, asking for recommendations and endorsements. Not a lot of people do this, at least in my circle of connections. So ask for those when you're comfortable. So when you choose your skills, if you have worked with, on a project, in a specific if your experience relates to those skills and you feel comfortable reaching out to people that you worked with, that can definitely set you apart. And then we'll talk about a couple of different LinkedIn groups that are specific to WSU that I would encourage you to connect with. But you can also join groups that align with your goals. So, and then it gives you a good way to kind of like get comfortable with the platform. So if there are professional associations that are connected to your goals that you're familiar with, you can follow those organizations. If you have been impressed by something that someone posted from an organization, that has been a way that in the past that I've been able to connect individually. Or, I saw that you were going to present at a conference that I'm not able to attend, but I would love to connect with you. So those are great ways to, personalize your messages so that people respond. I've been really sort of, I guess, and when I first started making those connections, was really sort of surprised that, that people would respond who were, on the board of different professional associations that I belong to and things like that. And it really does give you like an in into the industry, because you can see what those people are talking about. You can see what their colleagues are talking about, what conferences they may be attending, what articles they may be sharing, what trends they're talking about. Or you can just sort of follow people who are posting, I just got promoted, or I moved to a new organization. And then oftentimes people will use LinkedIn as a way to recruit. I just posted a position. I would encourage you to apply. I'm happy to talk with you about this particular role. So it just kind of gives you that insider knowledge. And then finally, check your work and, friends, family members, a career services person that's affiliated with WSU. We're happy to help with those kinds of things, to just give you a little bit of an overview or give you some feedback on the profile that you've created. So don't feel like, that you're kind of alone in this, or this, our presentation is, the only support that we would provide for you. So.
I also wanted to add to, there's just so many amazing features with LinkedIn in regards to like really showing how robust your talent is. So if you, for example, are a communication major right now and you have a portfolio, you can actually like upload images of your stills. You can link your website, your professional website, if that's something you do, or you do programming or any type of anything like that, or you're an architect, or like anything like that you have, you can actually link it into your profile. And even if some of you here are in graduate school or even PhD programs, you can put your publications on LinkedIn. So it's really, really like a great way for you to kind of give like, here's my, everything. So there's a lot of really cool features I've been clicking around these last couple of years. And so we'll be able to show you that a little bit later. But I just wanted to chirp in that extra stuff, because I thought was really cool.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Thank you. So, and then when you get to a point where you're comfortable, kind of putting yourself out there, or if you are already there, one of the tips and this is actually some information that we've carried forward from a recruiter a WSU alum who at some point, was a recruiter for LinkedIn and did a lot of, interaction with us. But just starting with those warm contacts, so feeling like, connecting with friends, family members, faculty members, advisors, people that you just feel comfortable with as you get comfortable with the platform. I think it's not a, feel it's a user-friendly platform, but just when you're getting used to navigating something new, that can be a way to feel comfortable posting or connecting and liking people's posts and things like that. So just kind of think about those people that you are most comfortable with as you're starting to add connections. So, and then on the next slide. And then as you are reaching out, I mentioned that most people are, that I have found most people have been really receptive to connecting. So, but do personalize your connection requests, sending an in message. So just, what's the context? Did you meet somebody at a career fair and really want to connect with them? Did you attend an information session? Were you impressed by an article that somebody wrote? So a lot of different opportunities, but the more so that, you help that person make a connection and understand where you're coming from, I think the much greater chance that they will be receptive to your request to connect on LinkedIn. Okay. And then as you get more comfortable, this is sort of that way to be more active and engage in your to kind of have a presence on LinkedIn. So you can like comments, or you can like and comment on people's posts. That's kind of the easiest entry point, I think. Just the way you would in another social media platform. If you find some relevant articles, you can post those again to express your interest, show that, that you really want to engage with topics and trends in your industry, and see what kind of comments you actually get. And then you can also just celebrate other people's accomplishments, achievements. People will talk about presenting maybe at a conference, they'll talk about a promotion. So you can definitely comment, express your interest in what they are doing. So these steps just give you sort of a presence, help you feel a little bit more engaged. You can also repost things too, if you really like something, to keep it kind of going, moving into your network, as well as the person who initially posted that, giving it a post or an article some attention. So yeah, so that's sort of like step number 2, moving into the platform. And then and these are kind of some of the different things that you can do at the point that connect you with Washington State University. This is the Washington State University page on LinkedIn, so you can actually look at alumni profiles. There you can join this particular group. You can also view jobs. These are not exactly WSU specific, but LinkedIn does have a very robust job board. So it is another resource for you to search on, different postings. And then you can also, on the Washington State University page, again, alumni profiles. I always encourage people to, as they're starting to network, or in addition to the networking that they're doing, to search for fellow Cougs on this in LinkedIn, not just on this particular page. But if you have a job title in mind, look for somebody at Washington State University who's doing that work, so that you have Cougs are very loyal to each other. This is not the first school that I've worked at, but I've been more impressed at WSU than anywhere else as in terms of the loyalty that Kooks show to each other. So leverage that when you're on the platform. And then and it doesn't necessarily need to be that, you're connecting with a recruiter or an executive, but somebody who has a 3 to 5 years of experience can be a great source of information as you're networking and trying to learn where you would like to land next and give you some insight into their occupation, their industry. Okay, and then I think this is the official LinkedIn group of Washington State University. So it is through hosted by the Alumni Association. You do actually have to request to join, but the good news is the reason that that's the case is because they do vet everyone. So making sure that you're either a student or an alum. So you know that you are truly connecting with fellow Cougs when you join this group. And it usually doesn't, I think it took a day or two for my request to be approved. So, oh, and I think, and then, so. Yeah, so kind of look for that at the point when you are, kind of ready to share your profile and connect with others. Yep. And
All right, dropping it in the chat for everybody.
thank you. Okay. Yeah. And so any questions specifically about LinkedIn at this point? It was a helpful overview. And we can.
All right.
Ready to transition to looking more at a handshake?
Yes. So Handshake is the platform that we utilize for connecting with employer opportunities, professional development here at WSU. So let's just talk a little bit about that platform. One thing that's really you're going to notice is how to that whole connection with what Melanie mentioned about looking for alumni or finding fellow students. Handshake is actually a really great platform to utilize that and actually use Handshake to then connect with people on LinkedIn. So we'll show you how to do that in real time in just a bit. But something to note with Handshake, it also is the main platform where we host the WSU Career Expos. For global students, we do host virtual fairs. And so the Handshake allows you to attend those and connect with employers one-to-one. And so that next event is going to be happening on October 7th for our global students. And we wanted to make sure to let you know that those things, information sessions, networking sessions, organizations, employers, all that stuff is going to be in that platform. So we're going to do, this section is going to be more of like a dive to see how that all works and then how that all ties together. I think so. Oh, sorry. Emma had a question, but how that all ties together going back into LinkedIn again, optimizing both platforms to really build that network, build your brand, build the connections, and just continue to do that. Okay. So one more in regards to that expo, but let's jump into Handshake for just a moment. So I wanted to go in this section, be a little bit more interactive because I wanted to then tie it back into LinkedIn and just bring it right back to LinkedIn in regards to networking. So one of the really great things is if you built your LinkedIn profile, you will be able to very quickly and very easily build your Handshake profile. Like it is literally almost set up in a very similar way. So creating a profile is actually a really important part of kind of setting it up so that if recruiters can reach out to you and they can see all, anything or courses that you are involved in. But also this platform allows you to upload your most updated resume or CV. And so it allows you to then to apply to opportunities as in real time. So let's jump into just kind of what we mean by that. So if you remember those slides that Melanie showed us, when you click on your profile, you're going to see a couple things that are a little similar, right? Here, we're going to have a bit of a summary about yourself. You're going to have usually your major or majors are listed here. They're automatically uploaded by staff here at WSU, but then a profile picture. So you're going to see a lot of the same things in regards to, for example, work or volunteer experience. So if you've already started really building that out into your LinkedIn, a lot of it might just be a copy and paste situation when you do this profile. It could be talking about your courses, your projects, profiles of employers review, your skills. So you're going to see that there's actually, and then if you upload your resume, it will also actually be on your profile as well, if that's something that you choose to present forward. So essentially, one of the things that's really, really similar is that if you build your handshake, if you build your LinkedIn, you can really build your handshake. If you build your handshake, you can start building your LinkedIn. So no matter where you start, they complement each other because it's just a great starting point for in regards to building a profile or an external view for yourself. So in regards to then connecting with employers, it's just like LinkedIn. You can look up a company, you can see their profiles. So in this case, we have Amazon. I follow them. I know several recruiters from Amazon. As I click on their profile, I can see a lot of different things. Basically, I can see all of their social media, their official website, maybe a contact information, some videos they've put up. So this is all very similar if you look at a company on LinkedIn. They have a lot of these different different things that they're showcasing. Sometimes they have jobs that they have put in, but now this is where it gets really cool in regards to making connections and brand building and building your network. As you go into a profile on Handshake, so Handshake is assigned to every single COOG who is attending WSU currently, and any COOG who has attended in the past. If they want to activate their Handshake, they actually can also stay connected and use the platform indefinitely. So in this case, something that's actually very unique with Handshake is that you can look up any questions that students may have asked or at some point, and these are not necessarily just COOG's questions. That could be students from other colleges, but it's just shared in a very public way. So, for example, was it a tough interview process to get hired for fulfillment role as at Amazon Fulfillment? So like maybe that's something I was looking at that. Let me see if somebody posted about that. So these are questions asked by students, usually responded to by recruiters. So that's kind of a very cool feature about the Handshake component. And then let me go back one more. She's a loading. And so another really exciting feature that you can see is students who have worked here. So these are not every COOG ever. These are also students who are from other universities. So there are, as you saw, Handshake is one of those software programs like LinkedIn that's interconnected with hundreds of thousands of schools. And so you can actually see that web crossover. So even if I just scroll down on this employer page and I want to see like students who have worked here and I don't know anyone from Amazon, I can be really specific to maybe a major that I am, maybe so maybe like sports business and marketing. And I can isolate it by just WSU students that have worked at Amazon in that specific major. And so let's say that in this case, let's see, I want to see an alum. So Alyssa Manetti. So two things could happen. Either I can see if I can reach out to her and to see if she would offer me some advice. So this is just similar to like a chat feature, totally open. Or here's the crossover part. I want to see if Alyssa, knowing that she's a COOG, if she has a LinkedIn profile. So I can literally look her up, and there she is. And so this is what, yeah, Alyssa is, she goes by Alyssa M. So here, I can look her up. And I know and so here she's put some really great media she's created, some of her experiences. I know she's a Coug. I'm super excited. She's in the same major as I am. She's in marketing as I am. So just so going back to how Melanie said, I can actually message her and make a connection with her and say, hey, I am also a Coug studying marketing, and I saw your contact information on Handshake, and I would love to talk to you about going into the professional field. I see that you're a Coug alum. And so this is what Melanie's saying about a personalized message, and making that connection with that person. So one of the great things about Handshake is that you can literally find Cougs. So if you don't know, and so I'll go the other way around. I'll try to find Amazon here. I want to see their official page. Yeah, here we go. So here I can search for people on Amazon, and you may be able to do some keywords, maybe hopefully maybe Washington State comes up as a keyword. And there seems to be a couple of people who did attend Washington State University, and then LinkedIn can kind of close that up a little bit more, and then it starts listing alums. So that's another way to do it. But it's basically just saying like, hey, if you really want to know about an alum, with your major specifically, and they're working at a company, you can actually do that um, reach out, that connection. And usually your Coug, like as Melanie was saying, the Coug connection is just strong here. So I just almost don't know any alum that won't respond back in regards to wanting to just talk about what they're doing, or talk about what it's been like these last 1 or 2 or 3 years out of university, or what it's like now that they are in maybe this is your second degree or your second career, and now you've transitioned into a new career. And so it'd be great to, if you wanted to like talk to someone who's maybe also maybe a veteran but also a Coug. And so finding connections with people is going to just be a great way, again, for you to continue to brand build and find new opportunities that you never even knew were even available to you. I will pause there, because kind of with Handshake, like I said, you can search jobs, events, employers, just like LinkedIn. You can do all of these types of searches, except it's just a little bit of a different way to continue building your voice. Like, what are you passionate about? So so once you are connected with people, post about some of the opportunities you see on campus, or maybe your group is presenting at a fair, or doing a project with after school students. And so kind of talking and sharing about like all the things that you're passionate about, or all the events that maybe you feel passionate about, is again tying it back to using LinkedIn in that capacity. So I will pause there, or let Melanie, if there's anything else I missed. I think I hopefully brought that tie together.
Yes, definitely. I think that was great to see, like kind of starting one place and making those connections.
Oh, a question, 2 questions, sorry. 2 questions in the chat. To join a group, so some groups they give you just the option to follow them, especially groups or companies. It's people that you can you make connections with. So you would make connections, usually with a group you have to ask to join in some of them. But for a person, if you ask a person, all you have to do is just literally, a lot of them, just message them, and you should be able to make that connection with them. Some people do, some people have a much more influencer presence, and so they do have it preset to following. So it might just be, again, that you might need to message them and say, hey, I'm following you, I really enjoy your content, can we connect further? I'd love to be part of your network. So you just have to message them and make that ask, because some people have defaulted their profiles to just follow. It just depends on, how they utilize LinkedIn. If it's much more of a social media influencer kind of presence. Oh, question, Emma. So with Handshake, since we already have an account and because they're WSU students, would you select the sign-in option or use your regular WSU info to log in? All you have to do is use your WSU email, the password you use at WSU, the okra like you use at WSU, and it all will just happen and log in for you. If you do have any issues that come up, I can put our support email for students. So student, I believe it's studentjobs@wsu.edu or student.jobs, Melanie, I'm trying to remember. We have that. But we'll put that in the chat very shortly, either way. Yeah, so all you have to do is log in like right now to Handshake, start looking, start clicking, start pressing buttons. I will do 2 really cool tips. Yes. And also for those of you who are double and triple majors, you know who you are. So if you have to update and add those achievements within your Handshake profile, you can also email us. So I will put that email in the chat in just a moment. My multitasking is not superior, but I did want to share 2 really good tips. Melanie, did you want to jump in before?
No, I'm just gonna say I'm not positive about the email address
Okay.
either. So.
I definitely have it. It's just I didn't have it prepped up. Um, okay, I was right. Okay, it is student.jobs@wsu.edu. So I'll put that in the chat. If you ever have any questions on Handshake, student.jobs@wsu.edu. Okay, so my 2 cool tips. So this is just like, I've learned these recently. I've learned it from hanging out with Melanie and other people. I was like, I didn't know I could do that. So with Handshake, right? One of the cool things about Handshake in regards to like professional opportunities and events for professional development is that, yes, it auto generates your major, but another thing that you can do is if you just take 5 minutes under my career interests, like 5 minutes, and you fill out the things that you are interested in. Just click on any of these. So in this case, I'm a marketing major, right? And so I clicked on anything that I thought that I was interested in, on roles that I was interested in, on I want to go into an internship or I want to get a job, maybe you're graduating in a couple of weeks. I want to build my network, whatever it is that you want to do. One of the cool things about the algorithm with Handshake is that it'll start making suggestions based on your preferences. So if you take the moment to just, besides just say, I'm a marketing major, or I'm an education major, or I'm a music major, if you start talking about all the different things, or I'm an engineer, if you start being specific about the types of industries you may be interested in with your degree, but also the kind of types of job functions, just taking a moment, your graduation, if you want to take a moment and update any of these preferences, once you save your interests, what's going to happen is on your homepage, every time you log in, it's going to give you suggestions on like, here's some sessions you might want to attend, or here's some internships that may be right for you. So I'll give you some auto suggestions based on just those preferences. Here's some roles you may be interested in. Here's some companies that you may want to look at and follow and learn more about it. Here's an event that's happening on campus that maybe you'd like to attend. So the Dine and Development event happening next week here at the Pullman campus. Here's some on-campus jobs if you were looking for some. So that was one cool. So like cool trick if you do your career interest, once you have your profile, if you do your career interest, it's actually going to help generate some ideas for suggestions for engagement there. And then the other thing I learned on LinkedIn, and I'll click on my profile, is if you are looking for work and you're about to graduate, this button right here is really cool, the open to. So you can actually like if you're a recruiter, of course you can hire, but you can actually select looking to find job. And so it makes your profile more open to recruiters. And so those are my two tips in regards to like finding opportunities and engagement. But so if you are looking for work, full-time work, or you're finishing your master's degree in just a couple of months and things like that, so you can either do the finding a job. And so this is what happens. You kind of look at locations where you want to apply. Are you looking for full time? Do you just want recruiters to see your profile? Do you want everyone to see that you're looking and looking for work? So it's kind of just a cool feature. And then those are my two tips for those two programs. So I'll pause there. And then I guess we can open it for other questions. Oh, question from Sierra. Does there tend to be a lot of scam companies reach out on either platform with job opportunities that we need to watch out for? There's always going to be companies that you need to watch out for. Unfortunately, that is just the case. If for any reason you're on Handshake, or even if you're not on Handshake, if you feel like something feels weird, you can always like report it to to our center, and we can check it out. So we can definitely check it out, but there should never be like total red flags. And Melanie, you can jump in too, but there should never be anyone asking you to like put money up front for any reason. There should never be any reason why they ask you like questions about like orientation, health, any of that. Like that's not legal in any way. And they should typically when they want to interview you, they like will accommodate you. So they'll like if it's Zoom, if you can't travel to a location, they're usually going to be very accommodating. But if anything, if you feel uncomfortable, check in with a staff member at WSU. Any staff member, any advisor will more than take a moment to just like give you a hand. And of course, us at the Academic Success and Career Center and anyone in Global, any of the staff in Global will take any moment of their time if you have any concern about an employer. But one thing you want to do is make sure that you let us know in the Academic Success and Career Center, because if they're on Handshake, we can ban them. So like we can eliminate that forever on our end as a campus. But you do have to be, most companies will have one thing about Handshake is that they do try to vet companies before they're even asked to approve on our campus. So there is like a vetting process, but again, the internet is humongous, and LinkedIn is moderated by LinkedIn, right? And so you just always have to be careful. But if you feel at any point like uncomfortable, or they're asking, or you feel like, hey, you should never also get a random email like that says things like, oh, can you just click on this link to finish something. That's just very strange. They should be directing you to their website. They should be directing you to like something, so you just, if you feel like something doesn't feel right, follow that instinct. If hopefully that answers your question. Melanie, any other hints you've seen?
No, I think that's a pretty thorough answer, and I like that you touched on the vetting process before, especially with Handshake. Like we do have some ability to manage that versus LinkedIn. So
Yeah, great question, Sierra. Nice. Yeah, I think if there's any other questions, we do have a a check-in slide. This is just so we know, like here at ASCC, we just want to know like who visited us so that we can see how many students we had if you wanted to scan that. But if you don't have any other questions, you can, thanks for having us, guys.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. That was extremely informative. And for everyone who has signed up and given your address, you will be receiving some Coug swag in the mail. Uh, so do expect that. But thank you everybody for coming. Thank you so much to Amy and Melody, sorry, and Melanie for speaking today. This is awesome. All right.
Thanks for having us. Go Cougs.
Go
Bye.
Cougs!